for example, like if you're just on your phone and you can just swipe left, right, or reject and accept or whatever it is, you can just easily do that with just like one piece of information, like you said, like chess or whatever it is. But if I were in a bar talking to somebody, I wouldn't just walk out the door.
Exactly,
I would still have to keep talking to them just like because of social, norm, even if I'm like turned off or not wanting to, but I would still continue the conversation.
Exactly.
And I mean, this is relevant for every aspect of online versus reality in terms of not just dating, but even just like for example, like online personas, like social media, influencers, for example, people just write them off if they just do or say one thing that might be a little bit offensive. But think about how many conversations you had with people where you don't agree with what they say, or they say something like kind of crazy or a little bit offensive, but you don't just immediately be like, you're a bad person,
Exactly.
Because you see a person as a very well-rounded individual. Like there's so many aspects to one individual. So but then the digital world, you have to kind of, I guess, dumb it down a little bit and label people as, this or that, good or bad, dateable or not dateable.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more complicated than that. So that's interesting.
No, I agree. There's multi facets to an individual, right? And that's why I think one of the disadvantages or dangers of our digital selves and, these dating apps and everything else is we are very quick to write people off. You know what I mean? We're very quick to, we see a picture and they have like a sports jersey of a team that we don't like. We're like, no. Or you know what I mean? Like we kind of like, we're very quick.
I'm so guilty of this.
Yeah. Well, we both are. I've done it as well. And it was interesting because like when I was listening to this book, I was like, oh my God, like so many examples of things that they were talking about were things that I have done as well. It's like, I think that, our digital selves just become like, we kind of become a little bit savage, to be honest. Like, when we get, especially, I think it's just because, I don't know.
It's easier to reject online. It's easier to reject over this phone than in person, which 100%. Is why I think one of the things that they talked about was that so many people so many people have broken up with somebody over, the phone or like over text.
Yeah.
And I mean, I haven't broken up with somebody over text, but I've definitely like rejected over text.
Yeah.
And like, because you wouldn't call them, but it's easier to do that.
Yeah.
Whereas in person, it would be a lot harder to be like, I'm not into you.
Exactly. Because again, like you said before, it's like when we're our digital selves, it's like a different, but when you see the person in like reality, it's like, that's a real person. It's not somebody just behind a keyboard, So
exactly.
I think it becomes so easy. And I think, the whole like rejection thing, like I've had so many instances where like, well, not so many, but I've had a few where I've been like talking to somebody on Tinder and just been like talking to them. And all of a sudden, like, I don't even know what I said because all of a sudden, like sometimes people can just like unmatch you. Yeah. And I'll like go through and I'll be like, oh, okay, well, I guess I don't know what I said or did there. They've just unmatched me.
Right.
Okay, cool. You know what I mean? So, and I think people
Haven't you done the same? Have you ever unmatched people like that?
Not like, no.
I've definitely done that.
What I've done because what I did before when I was in London, right? So like I'd have like a lot, like several matches, like I'd have quite a lot. And I would message because the thing is for a while I was like, oh, I'm just going to like see if somebody messages me or whatever else. And I'd get a few messages here and there, but then I was like, okay, I'm going to start like being more proactive about this. I'm going to start putting myself out there. Why should they have to message me? Maybe I'm going to message them. So I started sending out messages and then I'd start unmatching people if like, a couple
they don't respond.
Exactly. A couple weeks went by and I never heard anything. So then I'd just be like, okay. Or if they did say something really weird, then I'd be like, okay, see you later.
Yeah.